Welcome, Miracles Tribe members, and welcome to members of our Miracles Attraction community on Facebook and our YouTube subscribers. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I'm here today with my partner, Carly Hardy. And we have another fascinating guest for you in our continuing series of people whose lives have been positively transformed by their practice of A Course in Miracles. Our guest today is Donna Marie Cary. She's a musician coming to us from Kentucky. Carly is going to tell you more about her.
Thank you, Teresa, and a warm welcome. We're happy to have you, Donna Marie.
Thank you.
A little bit about Donna Marie. She's a longtime student and facilitator of A Course in Miracles. She began her journey with the Course in 1986. She travels the country sharing the message of love and forgiveness through music and word. Inspired by the Course, as well as New Thought churches, and there are often Course in Miracle conferences and retreats. She began a women's group, a Women of Wisdom, so that's wow. She heard an inner voice in 2008 say, "Bring the women together." And these wow experiences are healing for women, helping to remove blocks to their awareness and their beauty and their greatness. And then she also has for many years joyfully been teaching music and movement at Montessori preschools. So with that brief introduction, we'll let you tell your story of miracles. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you. It's such a joy to be here. So, my my life journey began as a very, very painfully shy little girl. There were 6 of us kids in the family, and everyone seemed to be pretty normal, except for me, it seemed. and but I had my father was quite my guru, I will say. He introduced me to, he was a very devout Catholic, but he took it deeper than that, deeper than what the church was teaching at the time anyway. And he began studying the philosophers and mystics and metaphysical studies, and ended up, of course, he was a guitarist, storyteller, humorist, teacher in many ways to the clergy of the church, the priests and the nuns. He was their counselor. So it was me, and there were, like, say, 6 of us kids, 4 boys, 2 girls, and my sister and myself were the ones who sat on the couch as he would read from these books of philosophy and tell his stories of miracles in his own life. And I was just sort of indoctrinated at a young age with that. So, as what happens in a lot of cases, you take what's taught to you and you take it a step further down your own path of learning. And so I don't really remember how I got involved in this group, but there was a group in Newburgh, Indiana, which was right across the river. Our town sits on the Ohio River. Right across the river, there was this group I was introduced called Spiritual Frontiers. And they experimented with the power of the mind. And so I stayed involved with them for quite some time, and then was introduced to the Unity Church, which was right down the road. That's where I started with Unity. Lord, what year was that? That was like way back. Anyway, I was just shortly, maybe early 20s. And there was a friend of my parents. My parents were very active in the church, in the Catholic Church. And what was brought about was something called the Emmaus Walk, which the members of the church would come together for a whole weekend, and they would really take the teachings of the Bible and take it a little deeper than what was experienced just within the church itself. A lot of people's minds and hearts were open to deeper levels through these things. And a friend of my parents who attended this ended up somehow going to these meetings with me across the bridge. And it turns out that she ended up leaving her family, leaving the town, and going on the road as a gypsy. And on in her travels, she found many things that, you know, served her journey well. And one being A Course in Miracles. She brought it back to town after a few years journeying. And she called me and said, you know, I've been introduced to this Course in Miracles. I'm going to start a group. Would you like to be part of it? And I told her, you know, asked her to explain a little to me. Well, I had become so disillusioned with this other group I had been in. I think there was a lot of mystical wannabes or something in there. It was sort of falling apart, and I became disillusioned. So I just wanted to be back to just a normal person, just, you know, take care of my family and work, teach music, etc. So I said, okay. So I finally said, you know, I'll come for one meeting. So I joined in the meeting. It resonated. I went home. I started studying it, reading it, doing the lessons. And I really had some problems with it at first. I'd been in this other group, which was all about manifesting and using the power of the mind to bring about what you wanted in the world and in your life. And this is saying there is no world and and nothing means anything. I'm going, what? Because I had really been practicing a lot of magic. So, I mean, seances and all this kind of stuff we were involved in. So anyway, part of me wanted to lay it down. Part of me couldn't lay it down. And I continued reading it and doing the lessons. And as I approached the end of the first time through the course, I looked back and I realized I had done it for everyone but me. When I would read certain things, I go, oh man, if he could only, if my husband could only hear this, or if this friend over here, if they only knew, you know. The world will end in laughter, as the Course says. It's all so funny to look back on now. But so the next year, I decided I'm not doing it for anybody except me. So I did stay focused on myself. And once again, I reached points that I was beginning to really, it started becoming my language, so to speak. And my songs, I'd always written a lot of songs in the past, but they were you did me wrong kind of songs. So my lyrics started changing to reflect the teachings of the Course. Not that I hadn't been spiritually minded. I had already written a lot of spiritual songs, but this took it to a whole nother level. And through that, I don't know how some of these opportunities came to me, but I ended up going to a weekend at a place called La Serena, Indiana. And someone showed up there, someone by the name of John Mundy. and his partner at the time, Diane Burke, and they had Interfaith Fellowship in New York City. And they were there and they heard me sing at me. And I'll put it as he put it into his own wording. He said, "Who is that? And what is that?" So they really resonated with the message of the songs. So I heard from them afterwards, and they brought me up to New York, and I sang at Interfaith Fellowship. And then Omega, there was a Course in Miracles conference, international conference, in Omega, at Omega Institute in Upper State, New York. And something said I had to go. Well, I had no money. I had no way to get there. How is this going to happen? Well, of course, if Holy Spirit wants you there, you're going to be there. So this money showed up from nowhere in the mail for some reason. I can't even remember what that was about, but the money showed up. And then I started having dreams of this garden. And when I got to Omega, that was the garden I'd been dreaming about. So I really was experiencing this place before I even got there. So they had a talent night there during the retreat, and I sang at that, and then that's when everything really, really started for me. But it was also at La Serena I met David Hoffmeister, early years of the Course, and he was traveling with a woman called, her name was Beverly, and that was another miracle that happened. They felt guided to come and ask me to travel with them, spreading the message of the Course, meeting people in their Course in Miracles meetings in their homes all over the country. And so here I had a husband and a young daughter, and that voice said, you have to go. So I did. And many, many lessons were learned along the way with that. I could talk to you all day long, but I'm not going to. I'm just touching on some things because it's quite a story. But anyway, so after Omega, then once again, everything opened up, and I met a lot of people there that asked me to come here, come there, to sing at their church or their Course in Miracles meetings and their retreats. So that started, a year's, I don't know how many years. I stayed on the road a lot. And there came a time when I knew I was avoiding what was happening at home, whether I should stay or leave the marriage. I was changing to such a degree, and I was cursing the Course for that. I was saying, boy, if I could only turn the clock back. I just want to be pure ignorance, I just don't want to know anything. But too late. So couldn't turn that clock back. And I had changed to such a degree that I didn't even know who I was anymore. All I know was I wanted to do, always sort of break up when I say this. I just wanted to do God's will, no matter what it looked like, no matter where it took me, no matter how frightening it seemed at first. And I was asked to do many things that were, it's like, you want me to what? And looking back, I see now the big picture, and I see why everything happened the way it had to happen. And these are tears of joy, really, tears of deep, deep, deep gratitude and devotion. So anyway, so my life with the Course continued to deepen. My mystical experiences, my communications with Holy Spirit, my out-of-body experiences in such painful types of situations where I asked for a miracle and was shown a love that's not of this world. And that's the title of one of my albums, and a favorite song of mine, and so many, titled Real Love. And that song came from that journey across the veil when I asked, it's not working here in anything I'm trying to do on earth. Show me what it is. Show me what's true. Show me what's real. And I was shown. And I once again came back from that so transformed on yet another level of healing and awakening, that I had to relearn what I was. It literally took me a couple of weeks to literally get back in my body and back in this world. I watch a lot of near-death interviews, experiences with people, and they have this same feeling. They come back from their near-death experience they've experienced something just so much more real than what goes on here, and they become homesick, and that's what I was. I became homesick for a while there, and until I could get back into what is mine to do here. I'm still here. There's a reason, and just show me what you want me to do, because I realized that's my only true happiness, is doing God's will here. Nothing else works to bring me happiness and peace. So after that experience, I really did I was down on my knees asking Spirit, what should I do with this marriage? And no longer did I say, should I leave or should I stay? I just simply said, I want to be happy. And that's when the man that I was to marry happened to give me a call and saying, we'd seen each other at a retreat like a lot of us do. And the voice said, plan gigs, sharing gigs on the East Coast. And that's where he lived, Brian Jones. And I'd seen him at conferences, all the time. Hey, how you doing, Brian? Good to see you again. Well, on the way to Virginia from Kentucky at the time, the closer I got to Virginia, I heard this song in my head playing. When I got to West Virginia, it said, almost heaven, West Virginia, but Virginia is heaven. And I crossed the line when I stopped at the first gig. What was the second gig, really? Brian was there. I got out of the car. I looked at him and I said, oh no, I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving my town. I'm going to marry this man. And I did. And we facilitated, taught, studied, prayed, meditated, read together daily for 16 years until he passed away. And I won't get into that long story and the miracle with that. But so the voice has once again said it's time to go back. I've come full circle. I'm back here. I mean, I won't get into all the miracles that happened in Virginia around the course, but there's many. But I'm back here and I'm still facilitating a course group. I'm come full circle. I didn't dream I'd ever be back here. I didn't want to come back here, but oh my goodness, the miracles that have happened since I've been here are just amazing. And this is one of them. Thank you. I didn't realize getting on Facebook again, I haven't been on a while, that it would come to this. So gratitude to you, Teresa, for getting back with me.
Thank you, Donna Marie. Trying to switch us back. You're with me for a second. I'm not used to this computer. Well, okay, I'm going to have to be a disembodied voice, I guess. But we are so thrilled that you were able to join us today. And we would like for our listeners to be able to find your music. If you want to share your website or where they can find it on Amazon, that would be helpful.
Well, there's not much happening with the website right now, or for the past few years, really. But it is there. It's just very incomplete. you can just go to Donna Marie Cary, CARY.com, and there it is. What is left of it anyway right now. And on there are, I think, some of the songs or the albums are listed. But yeah, you can just go to Amazon.com and type in Donna Marie Cary, CARY, and my albums should come up. There's 3 of them presently on there. Real Love and Eye of the Hurricane, and what's the other one? No Solid Ground. What's anyway, I can't even remember the name of my album, but you'll find me on there.
Well, I so enjoyed your music when I attended church at Unity of Loudoun County in Virginia, and it's just delightful to reconnect with you again here. Thank you so much for joining us today, telling your story.
It's a blessing, such a blessing. Thank you so much for having me.